Well, we got Florida this week, and they're the team with the roster. They're the team with the all the all the glitter and all the shine. They're year in and year out the projected number one in the conference. Most of the time, number one or number two in the nation. So it should be a great experience for us to go over there, and we generally in the past have competed very strongly over there, and I don't have any reason to believe we'll do anything differently this year. Kids are excited, got a little momentum going. They feel good about where they're at. We still have to manage our bodies pretty carefully over the next several weeks, just because we've got a little bit of a meat grinder. It starts this week, and then we come home for Alabama, and then we got to turn around and get on an airplane the next morning, go to Missouri, and make up the meet with Missouri and Arkansas, and then we'll go to TW the following week. But it's 4 meets in 14 days, and and for us that's a bit of a challenge. It's a good thing because if we navigate it well, it prepares us for the postseason and makes us gain a little confidence in knowing that we can handle those things. But we just have to be judicious, especially on that double weekend. I'm not sure what the lineups are going to look like. There's a good chance that some things might change from meet to meet, but we anticipate trying to put our best foot forward for sure this week against Florida, because it's going to be a monumental task to go down there and try to get a win.
If I could ask you just to reflect one last time after a couple of days on the meet you just had, three perfect tens, the SUNY League, the 13,000, everything. It just seemed like the perfect experience for anybody who attended.
It was fantastic, to see our fans come out at the level that they did. The students were amazing. I don't know what the final count on that was, but they were engaged. It was loud down there, and the atmosphere was fantastic. SUNY is obviously the big star right now and has really created a lot of buzz around Auburn. But more than that, she's energized that team, and they've raised their level of performance with her on that team. And sometimes you're one kid away, and you can hear a little bit of that in what Will was saying a few minutes ago. Sometimes you got a lot of pieces, but you might be coming up short, whether it's due to injury or something else, and just that one last little piece of the puzzle can make a difference. I think SUNY does that for Auburn. Auburn's a contender. The rankings are what they are right now, but Auburn's a contender for the national championship. They are a strong team, and we know that we came out with a great outcome there. We got tight early in that meet, and could have very easily snowballed on us, but our kids really rebounded well, got themselves in the right frame of mind, and finished in a very strong fashion. So,
Compared to a home meet, what's different, throughout the week in preparation when you're traveling?
well, this week's weird. As a general rule, I like to get three training days in between competitions, but when TV moves us to Saturday, and then we have to turn around for another Friday, which is on the road, we lose a training day. So we're really gonna. I could have jammed 3 days in there, but that would have been not good for some of the. Haleigh still hurts, and Kiya, the Achilles, regardless of the performance, still hurts, and it was hurting worse yesterday than it's hurt in a long time. So we have to be smart. So we'll get only two in this week. We'll go today and we'll go Wednesday. We got a couple that are going to take today off and get an extra day of rest and come in individually tomorrow and try to go again Wednesday, and we'll see how that goes. But so it's a little different this week just in terms of numbers. Typically, on a Friday to Friday type schedule, we'll get at least 3 solid days in. Usually the first day in, y'all have heard me talk about it, the first day back in the gym normally is just kind of a knock the rust off, work on trouble spots that we had in the competition, fairly light. We meet, we look at film, all those things. Today we'll go a little harder than we normally do, just because we've only got the 2.
Speaking of Kiya, obviously come out like she did, do what she did first time in competition this year was incredible. Y'all have had you've discussed a lot of the plan. Y'all have had to try to bring her along slowly. You feel like she'll be able to get back this weekend, and how do you feel about the plan, going forward?
Yeah, step 1 of the plan is, went well. But when you're dealing with these things, like there's so many unknowns, and Achilles tendons are just a finicky thing, and And she gets tired of worrying about it. We all do. It's been an ongoing thing for 2 years. But I feel like she'll be ready to go this weekend. The plan was to get her back for Auburn, so the first time out on all four would be at home, and then we knew that Florida was looming next, so we wanted to have her get one under her belt before. I didn't know she'd go out there and get a 10, and the first time she competed floor. I mean, the kids, she's amazing. I mean, she can do that. There's a lot of different types of athletes out there, and she's one that doesn't lose things. Timing doesn't go away. She's incredible that way, and so I think she'll be fine if the Achilles will allow her to. We got plenty of treatment on it yesterday, and we're going to go real light on her today, so she'll probably get 1 day in before we go, and but hopefully the plan is for her to be in.
How far off right now do you feel like she is from being at or close to full strength? And same question for Haleigh.
She's at as full strength as she's going to get. I mean, she's at full strength. It's just it's trying to manage her numbers and reduce the risk of anything catastrophic going on with the Achilles tendon. And there's no magic formula to that. There's no empirical data that I can rely on that if you do this or don't do that you're gonna survive it. It's just more of we check day to day how she's feeling and where she's at and that's been what we've had to do for the last 2 seasons, and knock on wood, we've been okay so far, but we've just got to keep playing it by ear. It could come down to the day of a meet where we make a decision to pull her out. You just don't know. I mean, the whole thing started on a walkthrough at Florida 2 years ago. We went in for a walkthrough, and she just sprinted down the runway, and it had bothered her a little bit, but all of a sudden it was worse, and it's never gotten better. We went through the shutdown where she wasn't able to do gym because nobody could go anywhere. That didn't improve it. That amount of rest. We went through a summer where I told her don't do anything with it. That didn't improve it. So it is what it is, and there's just no. If you had a crystal ball, to know how this was going to work out, it would help, but they don't make them anymore, I guess. Yeah, Haleigh's in a much better situation. Hers is just about pain management. We're not concerned about anything that's going to happen long term at this point. That would hinder her. I mean, of course, it could happen again, and then we'd be shut down a couple of weeks again. But from a structural perspective, we're not anticipating anything out of this that would cause her to have some kind of issue where she'd have to have surgery or anything like that. Hers is just about communicating where she's at. If she's favoring it, then we've got to know that. If it's hurting and she's favoring, you don't want a kid punching and landing on one foot, and we have to watch that from different angles to make sure that she's level in her gait and when she does takeoffs. So we watch that pretty carefully, but we're not as concerned on that one.
You talked a lot beginning of the season about mental toughness and who is going to be the dog that kind of gets you through. And just now you just said that they stopped kind of a snowball effect. I know it's at home. Yeah. So is there anything that you found there that you can also rely upon on the road?
I think so. I think it's just regardless of at home. In some ways, being at home, there's more pressure because they want to do so well for their fans. And when you have that many fans, you get all that positive juju from the fans, all that energy that's coming down, and we can hear it, and we can feel it, and feed off of it. But also, they feel an obligation to perform well for their fans, and so I think it's just a mark of a team that's maturing and that has hurt us in the things that we've talked about. We've talked about the difference. The last week we came back from Georgia, and we talked to the team about what's the difference between want to and got to, want or have to. One is sort of a mindset that can get on you real quick and cause you to be desperate. The other, want to or get to, is about desire, enthusiasm, freedom, just attacking what you're doing. And so there's a fine line between that. They're both very competitive. Everybody in the gym wants to get out there and do well. But one can lead you down a path where you get tight, and the other one leads you down a path where you're confident and you're on autopilot. And so I think they really kind of heard that messaging. They got together and had a team-only meeting. I think that a lot of the seniors were instrumental in that, and they came out with just a little different outlook.
This past meet, your leadoffs were really strong. I guess just kind of the same idea of just the team collective, but those girls obviously have seen a lot and done a lot for you, and they come up big, set the table, because you do have some rookies, I guess, following in behind them.
We do, and we talked a lot about Christina Desiderio in the last week or so, and she was a big key in that meet when she started beam and floor with 9.9. One was a 9.925, one was a 9.95. I don't remember which was which, but that's incredible. I mean, people don't understand. There's not many teams in the country that have somebody that can start you off at that level. Those are scores that come at the tail end of people's lineups in most cases. And her demeanor last week was unlike anything I'd ever seen out of her. There's a difference in her right now. I think our table setters are, and Kiya's the same way on bars. She didn't have her best bar routine, but week in and week out, she does things at an incredibly high level. We put Elena back in. I mean, she's an SEC vault champion and was the first time she'd gotten to vault for us this year, and it was as a result of Alona having a little of a knee thing and wasn't warming up well, and she got us off to a great start. Elena is a little bit of an unsung person too in a lot of ways, in that she's always there. She's steady. She's a steady hand, and was able to step in at a moment's notice, start us off with a 9.85 on vault. So those positions are incredibly important, and I think that's where the strength of our team is. I think over time, if we stay healthy, 1, 2, and 3 on every event is where we might be able to make a difference. That's where, down the line, when we start getting head-to-head with these other teams, everybody's got a 4, 5, and 6. But the difference is, where do your 1, 2, and 3 stack up when you get against the best teams in the country? And I think we got a chance to stack up pretty well if we can stay healthy.
Is this the best team you've had? I mean, including with DD, as far as depth to survive injuries?
Well, I think just by virtue of the fact that those 5 seniors from last year are back, it gives us more numbers. Now, a couple of them are reduced in their contribution level just because of the nature of their bodies being kind of beat up and unable to do everything. Bridget and Reagan can't do but one event now, and but I would say it's as deep a team as we've had. I don't know that it's the most deep, but it's as deep as any team we've had.
Back to Haleigh for a second. That vault on that foot, can you put that into perspective for us?
She's I don't know there's ever been a bigger, better vault done in college gymnastics at the level of consistency that she does it, and she was confident. We didn't exactly, light it up the first few vaults down the runway, and we needed somebody to kind of strike the match and get us going, and she kind of just looked at me before she went and just was like, I got this, and she just boned it. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, it was I don't know. There's not a lot of adjectives left to describe the amplitude and bigness of Haylee Bryant's gymnastics. I mean, she's not just a gymnast. She's an athlete. I mean, she could. I don't think there's any sport that if that kid had ever attempted to do that she couldn't have done at an extremely high level. She's long. She's powerful. She's strong. She's fast. She's got incredible aerial sense. I mean, there's just not an attribute of athleticism that she doesn't possess. And you couple that with she's just a fabulous human being. She's just a humble, great kid, that everybody loves being around. It's pretty cool to have I think every coach would want to coach somebody like Haylee Bryant.
It's a crude measuring stick, but I was just looking on Road to Nationals. There have been 24 10s so far this season.
Yeah.
Maybe you've been able to look at it, you follow it, maybe you don't. Is scoring, you can't see every meet, I know, but
yeah.
Is scoring, where it should be?
I was
right
talking
now?
about this with a good friend of mine who's a coach at another school, and we were talking about it. But I want to say that it's a lot of it is due to we've got a lot of teams returned seniors that were fifth years that had a tremendous amount of experience under the belt, and I want to believe that it's about that just sort of raising the bar a little bit in terms of the performance, because how many times did you have a Sarah Finnegan and a Lexi Priestman and McKenna Kelly, and they go out the door, and we got these great freshmen that walk in, and you go, man, what would that look like if we had them all together at the same time? And I think a lot of teams are in that situation right now where they have their superstar seniors that were great for them last year, and they get a bonus year out of them, and they brought in some great freshmen to replace them. And so now you've got this amazing situation where teams have competition in their gyms, and iron sharpening iron, as the old adage is, and it just raises the expectation levels for everybody. It also causes, issues internally sometimes, because everybody wants to compete, and there's 6 spots on every event, and we're carrying 21 kids on our team, so it's they all want to be in there, and a lot of them feel like they do enough, and if they don't get in, they're disappointed, or those kinds of things can creep in if you're not careful. So it's a tough management thing. I was talking to Jeff Graba about that at Auburn. He's dealing with it too. You get kids that are disappointed because they don't feel like they're getting in as much as they would like to, and trying to make sure that everybody keeps their focus on where it needs to be in terms of the team is a challenge sometimes.
Speaking of 10s, you're about to see a girl that's got a lot of them.
Trinity?
Yeah.
Yeah, we love Trinity. We wanted Trinity pretty bad, and got to know her and her family pretty well during the process. And she's another great, not just a great gymnast, just a great person. And always look forward to seeing her. Not from a competitive standpoint, if. Yeah, well, they all know each other. I don't know if you noticed, but Suni gets her 10 on bars, and our team's walking over to bars. We're about to rotate, and it's like a parade of hugs. They're hugging each other. They know each other. They've been to national team training camps together. They're all friends. They got group texts that they're all in together, and so, while our fans and everybody's all like, we got to crush these people and do all this, the kids are just there's a ton of mutual respect and admiration that goes on, and Trinity's that way. Some of our kids know her very, very well, and so it's no different when we go down there. We all want to win, but it's I don't know, man. It's different. It's not football. The scouting report in Florida is that they are good. They're good. I don't know what our defense is going to look like yet. I'll have to